Okay, so getting back into our coverage over the X-Men, we do pick up with X-Force issue number 31. Now, this issue right here is really more of trying to put Black Tom on the back burner, yes, but at the same time, is also trying to dive into the origin of the character known as Siryn. Now, as we all know, Siryn is the daughter of Banshee. But the problem was, for Banshee, he had no idea that he had a daughter. And the reason why, because, well, Black Tom, his evil cousin, did his best to keep her a secret. So for a long time there, for Banshee, he believed that he did not have a daughter. Now, I will explain more about that here in a moment, but as we get into the opening pages for today's video, it does pick up where our last video had left off at. Because in our last video, you had two different things happen. The first was that Black Tom and Juggernaut had went back over to Cassidy Keep, the home for the entire Cassidy family in Ireland. Now, when you have Black Tom knock on the door, he come to find out the family lawyer was there. And so you have Black Tom attack the lawyer. Now, I'll tell you the truth, guys. In my last video, I thought that the lawyer was dead. But then in this video, it's like, oh no, the lawyer is alive, but he's just seriously injured. That's wild. But apparently that lawyer was able to get some help. But now you have all these different forces wanting to bring Black Tom in for the crimes that he had committed. But the problem is right now, nobody knows where Black Tom is at. And that kind of leads into the second thing that happened in our last video, because in our last video, we began to learn that for Siryn, she is an alcoholic, but she's trying her best to break away. But the reason why she is one, because what happened in her life. Now, we saw in the last few videos that Warpath had truly cared for the girl and wanted her to get better. And so once you had Warpath confess his love to Siryn, she wanted to go back home to the family home, Cassidy Keep. And so, of course, when they got back home, they got word of what had happened. The lawyer was attacked by Black Tom, her crazy cousin. And so for Warpath, he's kind of sad because now, as soon as they get back to Ireland and she thinks it's going to be a nice vacation, she hears that her crazy cousin is causing problems once again. And she went home and started drinking all over again. And so as we get into the opening pages for today's video, we do pick up with Warpath having a meeting with a character known as Kelvin. Now, when it comes to Kelvin, this dude right here was like an old friend of Siryn when they were teenagers, but also had feelings for her as well and wanted to be there for her for everything that she has gone through. Either way, for Kelvin, he's now kind of like a detective in Ireland, trying their best to figure out where in the world Black Tom could possibly be at. Because, like I said, in our last video, you had Black Tom attack the family lawyer. Now, we do learn that the lawyer is okay, but the question is right now, why did Black Tom even attack the lawyer for? Now, for Warpath, he says, listen, the reason why he did that is most likely because he wants attention. Now, he wants the attention of everybody, but especially of one person. And of course, that would be Siryn, the young girl he had raised while Banshee was away. And matter of fact, we jump over to Siryn, and when we do, we see her being very upset about the fact that the garden near the Cassidy Keep has not been taken care of. It really bothers her a lot. And so the whole idea of her cousin now being back out there as somebody wanted by the law, but also seeing the way the garden was being taken care of, it just adds on to the pain that she was currently feeling. And so once again, she begins to drink so bad to the point where she passes out in the middle of the dead garden, and you have Warpath coming out of his way to take her back inside to get her cleaned up. But that leads into one of the biggest conversations between these two characters, because for Warpath it's all like, listen, I don't know the full story of what exactly happened to you between you and Black Tom that makes you hate your life, that makes you drink so much. But at the same time, you don't have a monopoly of different reasons to have grief. Because for Warpath here, this man lost his brother Thunderbird. Let's not forget that he was an X-Men for like 2 missions, and he died just like that. Then after that, for Warpath, right after or before he had joined X-Force, his entire tribe of people were just wiped out. And so for Warpath, he has nobody. Everybody has been killed off in his life. Now, for Teresa, yes, she does have problems, but her problems in his mind does not line up to his problems. Like, hey, your problems are nowhere near as big as mine. So it's time for you to help me out to help the police and the doctors to figure out where in the world your crazy cousin, Black Tom, is hiding out at. But now we pick up with Kelvin meeting up with Juggernaut. Now, for me personally, this is a great book right here just because of Juggernaut alone. Because usually when you read books about the character, it's always like he's some kind of goofball, and that's really it. He can't be a serious character. Now, occasionally, you'll have those stories where he is a serious character. Matter of fact, there was a story back in, I want to say, 2019, 2020, that was part of the Krakoa era for the X-Men, and when it came to Juggernaut, he was a very more serious character. Either way, for Juggernaut, not Nut, woo, bad idea. For Juggernaut, he does meet up with Kelvin. Now, for Kelvin, like I said, he's trying to do some detective work right now, trying to find Black Tom, and of course, arrest Black Tom. Now, this leads into the origin of the character Black Tom, but also Siryn. Because we learned early on here that for Black Tom, the dude was a ladies' man. Like, this dude was getting ladies left and right, except for one. And her name was Maeve. Now, when it came to Maeve, she did like Black Tom, but as a friend. Homeboy got friend zoned. Now, with him being friend zoned, he was kind of upset, but it only got worse when she fell in love with his cousin Banshee. And so because of that, it was kind of like the hatred between these two characters began at that exact moment. Because for Black Tom, he always wondered why he was not good enough to get Maeve, the woman he truly did care for. Now, when it came to Banshee, he had to leave for some government work. And so when he left, he had no idea that his wife was pregnant. He had no idea that she gave birth to a young girl. And so when he came back, all he heard was, hey man, listen, your wife died in a tragic incident. Like, she's dead. I'm sorry. And that was really it. No one told the man, like, hey, even though she died, at least you have a daughter. For Black Tom, after she had died, he took Siryn in and was supposed to raise her and then tell Banshee about her. Because again, it's his kid. Now, for Banshee, he does come back home, and when he does come back home, he gets upset at Black Tom. And the reason why, because he knew back then even Black Tom was madly in love with Maeve. And so he blames Black Tom for not trying to protect the woman they both love. And so you had Banshee use his mutant ability on Black Tom, which then led to Black Tom getting his leg broken. And so it kind of explains why Black Tom has always had that cane with him. But either way, for Black Tom, he kind of took the words of Banshee to heart because, again, Black Tom was madly in love with Maeve. He should have been out there trying to watch over her, to protect her from harm. But unfortunately, he didn't do that. So she died. And then, of course, now Teresa has no mother. Now, again, he could have told Banshee that, hey, listen, you have a daughter. But because you have Banshee get so mad at Black Tom, attacked Black Tom, and left, right after he left, you had Banshee go do some more government work and stay away from Cassidy Keep for many years. And so because of that, Black Tom supposedly never had the chance to tell Banshee about his daughter Teresa. Now, when it came to Black Tom, he began to fall into some illegal work. At that point, he had sent Teresa away to go be at boarding school so that she would be part of his life somewhat, but not when he's out there doing some illegal activities. But now I want to jump back over to Warpath and also Siryn. Now, when we do, it's really more of Siryn trying to explain why she became an alcoholic. And the reason why, because the whole idea of Black Tom kind of abandoning her, but not really. Because, like I said, for Black Tom, he sent her away as a way to protect her. You know, he's all like, hey, go to boarding school to stay away from me, but to also get an education, but at the same time, will still have some kind of communication with one another. But in reality, he hated the idea of having her around while being some kind of criminal. But for Teresa, she didn't see it like that. Her mom died when she was barely born. Her dad is supposedly dead or just not around. And then Black Tom is all like, hey, listen, go to boarding school and stay over there away from me. She felt like she was abandoned. And so when she got to boarding school, she fell into the wrong crowd. And that crowd of people, they had liquor. They gave her liquor. Next thing you know, she slowly became an alcoholic. And then after a couple years or maybe months, she then finds out that her uncle or her protector, guardian, Black Tom, has been arrested and gone for 5 years to prison. And she never saw him in prison. And so once again, she kind of felt like that she was abandoned. Now, in a very kind of unfortunate way, she kind of believes that it's her fault the way Black Tom is, or it's her fault that Black Tom went to prison, because in her mind, really in my mind, it's kind of like she reminds him of the woman that he used to love, the woman he lost to Banshee, the child that he could have been the father to. But either way, once into jail, she began to blame herself. Now, for Warpath, he tells her, you can't do that to yourself, though. It's not your fault for his mistakes. It was him who got locked up. It was him who kept the secret between you and your father. Like, it was all his fault, not yours. But now we have to jump over to Kelvin. Now, when we do, it's really more of Kelvin right now still trying to do some detective work, trying to figure out where in the world Black Tom could possibly be at. Now, for Kelvin, he does get a fax, and that fax came from a laboratory in France. Now, this lab is really important for the character of Black Tom, and let me explain. So, for Black Tom, he was shot by Cable in the early days of X-Force Comics. He was supposed to die, but the thing was, he was saved at the very last second by Deadpool. And when it came to Deadpool, he took Black Tom over to the lab in France to get some medical help, but at the same time, that lab was going to give Black Tom an upgrade, possibly giving him a new set of powers. Now, the problem was, while they were trying to work on Black Tom, you had the Juggernaut come out of his way to break his old friend out. The problem was, because the whole project was not done yet, it kind of led to the fact that Black Tom's body and mind was not properly healed up, but also not ready to go back out into the real world. And so the fact saying right now, Black Tom is going to die. His body and mind is slowly dying off. And so sooner or later, he's going to need some medical help if he wants to survive. And so for Kelvin, he realized that he can use this as a way to bring Black Tom out and finally arrest him. And so you have Warpath go meet up with Juggernaut. Now, when he does, it's really more of Warpath telling Juggernaut, like, hey, listen, I got some info that your friend is basically dying. Like, the lab that you had broke him out of was not able to finish their work on him. And so his mind and body is currently dying. And so if you want to save the man's life, the same guy you look at as a brother, you're going to have to go ahead and hand him over. And yes, SHIELD wants him. Interpol wants him. FBI wants him. So many different groups want him. They're all saying that they'll cut him a deal, but at the same time, try to cure him as well. And so for Juggernaut, he kind of realized that he has no choice here, because his friend, the guy he looks at as a brother, is dying. He's literally dying. He says, you know what? Fine. Where can we meet up at? Because I want him to get the help. And honestly, if he's able to get that help, sooner or later, I will be able to break him out of prison and we'll be together again. And so you have Juggernaut agree to hand Black Tom over and meet at a certain place. So you have Black Tom being able to meet up with Teresa, Siryn. Now, when the two characters do meet up, it's really more of Teresa letting Black Tom know how she truly feels. Because for Black Tom, he's blaming everybody else for all the things that went wrong in his life, but he's not blaming himself. It's all like, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. But in reality, almost everything that has happened is his fault. And the problem is, he knows it is his fault, but he hates the idea of admitting that everything happening to him, to Teresa, to Sean, to Maeve, was all his fault. And so it's Teresa saying, like, you could have made things better for everybody if you had just told my father the truth. The whole idea that he was a father, that I was around. If you had told me the truth, again, I could have been with my father. And it's also her saying, like, I kind of realized that you were afraid of losing me, but you didn't realize I had enough love for my father and also for you if you had told me the truth. And so Black Tom kind of realized that, yeah, everything that happened in his life is his own fault. And so you have the book really end with him being arrested and being taken away to hopefully get cured, but to, be put on the back burner for the time being. But yeah, this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.